Hey there, and welcome to the KidzMatter podcast, your go-to resource for all things children's ministry. Each week, we bring you fresh ideas, inspiring stories, and practical insights to help you lead, love, and serve kids like never before. Whether you're just getting started or you're a seasoned pro, we're glad you're here. Let's get started. Hey there, and welcome back to the KidzMatter podcast. You're tuning in for an episode with Scott Myers from Planning Center. And today, Scott and I are going to have a conversation about how Planning Center can help equip and empower kidmin leaders just like you. From check-ins and scheduling to workflows and lists, Planning Center has something for everyone. And we believe this conversation is going to be uplifting and encouraging for you. Whether you're using Planning Center now or you're considering it in the future, there's something here for everyone. Before we jump in, let's check out a word from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Kidmin Academy. Kidmin Academy is a 12-module program designed for kids ministry leaders just like you. With practical modules on topics like special needs ministry and effective teaching, you'll learn and grow immensely as you engage with students from around the world. Upon completion, you'll earn a certificate in children's ministry, and you can even apply for college credit through Indiana Wesleyan University. Learn more today at kidminacademy.com. We can't wait to jump into today's conversation, so let's get started. Well, hey there, and welcome to the KidzMatter podcast. We're so excited to have you joining us for another episode today. And as always, I'm excited about our guest because we have Scott Myers with Planning Center. And I was just telling him that Planning Center is like the kids pastor's best friend. We are heavily integrated. When I was in kids ministry for about 10 years, and Planning Center was along that entire journey. So I'm excited to dive in today. But Scott, I would just love to hear from you. How did you get where you are today into Planning Center's a ministry, so how did you get where you are doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, great question. Also excited for the conversation too. Excited to work with KidzMatter. We love you guys. It's one of the things we look most forward to every year for the KidzMatter conference. So this is really fun. I actually started kind of in a household that wasn't overly religious. It was like passively, I guess I'd say. And then I joined the worship team for the youth band because they had a low tolerance of skill level, and I could play drums a little bit, kind of. So that's when I started hearing the word, and I decided I wanted to go into ministry at that point. Went to a university to be what they call a director of Christian education. Wow. And then worked at a couple of churches and worked at mostly doing youth ministry and kids ministry and worship. All those. Wow. It was a small church. And, janitorial stuff, and sound design, all the stuff that you do at a small church. And then after probably 6 to 7 years or so, then I jumped out. I got more into the nerd tech stuff, and I started working at Logos Bible Software, and then joined Planning Center about 12 years ago. So I've been at Planning Center since it was just services, just for worship, and now until we're a full-fledged church management system. So yeah,
that's incredible. And Logos, we could geek out on that. We won't have the time, but that is so exciting. If you're not familiar with Logos, it's a great Bible software program, but
very powerful. It's great. Yeah,
that is a really cool journey. I love how God just knits all that together, right? And says, here's this kid who kind of wants to play the drums, and then there you go.
Right. Yeah.
I know our listeners relate to what you said about you were janitor and worship pastor, and because that's how most of us are in smaller churches. And so it's very true that we wear a lot of hats. So I love that you share that experience. Thanks for sharing that.
Definitely. It's one of those, like, even when I joined Planning Center, I was like a 15th person at the company. We're just a little over 200 now. So it's a big difference. But even then, it's like, I think what I love is all those small, like, different hats, just like kind of plug in where you think is going to make the biggest impact. So yeah, I think that's a big part of church too.
It is, and being the body of Christ. And then the beautiful thing, kind of jumping into our conversation, is calling it volunteers and finding people to use their gifts and their talents. And that's really where Planning Center kind of comes in. I know it's much more to it than volunteers, but I think a lot of us, when we think of Planning Center, we think of the volunteer scheduling system, services. But really, let's just do a broad overview. Why should kidmin leaders even use Planning Center? For those of them who maybe aren't familiar, let's look at it from a bird's eye view.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let me go a little bit more narrow, and then we'll go bird's eye. But I think it's a fair thought to believe that planning center is for worship because that's where it started,
Right.
for scheduling people and then sharing like chord charts and order service and all that kind of stuff. That's where it started for sure. But I would argue that the amount of people that kids ministry have to schedule is significantly more than the amount of people that worship has to schedule. So I think scheduling is a really big part of that.
Yeah.
But then we started slowly just trying to like solve problems that churches needed. That's really what we're doing. Actually, this is like public news, but we promised a long time ago that we would never be a church management software. um, and then our CEO,
Guys.
I know, right? God has a way of doing those kind of things.
Yes.
But our CEO, their church was shifting from one version of a church management software to another version. So same software, just like a version 5 instead of version 4. And it felt really rough. It felt like it was kind of price gouging in some ways, and also like it required a week's worth of bringing somebody out to train. And
Wow.
it felt unintuitive and just not part of the spirit, the culture that we envision for the church. So I think that was the catalyst. We're like, you know what, we can do this, make it feel a lot more simple.
Yeah.
And that was where the passion started. So anyway, we started slowly, then just building out a lot of different products, basically check-ins, registrations, groups, people, which we'll probably talk a lot more about, and many other things, to where we're kind of like a full-fledged church management software. But those, I'd say the ones for kids ministry specifically are probably services for scheduling, check-ins for the safety and security aspect of things, people for what we call workflows, and lists. It's like helping make sure people don't fall through the cracks,
Love that.
and then registrations for like VBS registrations or events, that kind of stuff. All those things also work together because it's the same system. So what's really cool about that is if someone like signs up for an event online that you've never met, they're already in the system. You know what I mean? When they come to check in, when they come for the first time at the church, they're already there. You don't have to ask a bunch of questions or collect data. And you already have a process to follow up with them even before they arrive. So yeah, that's bird's eye view, I guess.
That is a huge win. At my last church, we had some planning center, some other church management software, some this and some that, and I love the thought of it all just being one. I'd say, okay, it's all integrated, it's all friendly, they all, work
Yeah.
together. So thanks for giving us a view of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, when we kind of started doing this, we realized that on average, most churches would have 3 to 5 different systems to help them process their stuff, and they don't link, they don't talk to each other. You know what I mean? So like, that's part of the passion of why we built it the way we did.
That's awesome. I love the way that you guys have just said, hey, we have a heart to serve the church. And so we're going to fill the gap. And right now, that's where the gap is. So funny, like you said, you never planned to go there, but God led you there. And, with how being a church management system now, but I think it's fantastic. What are some of you kind of mentioned some of the best Kidmin features. Tell us a little bit more about some of those that you would say, hey, this is because if I'm correct, you can get packages, right? Where you're saying, hey, I'm going to purchase just this on its own, or I can get this together. What would be some of the top things you'd recommend?
Yeah, the best way to kind of communicate that is that each one of our products has its own pricing structure, based on how you use that product. So if you only need check-ins, you only have to pay for check-ins, and you only have to pay for it for how much you're using it.
Awesome.
So I wouldn't say there's like packages, but there are like different products that like
Got it.
make up something. So yeah, so the ones that stand out for children's ministry, I think check-ins is probably the easiest one to
Yeah.
talk about. It's for safety and security. I think it's an obvious type of thing, right? You're printing labels as people come
Right.
up, but what sometimes like helps you understand the importance of it is, I'd say, 2 things. One is it's kind of like a seat belt. Like
Right.
sometimes a church feels like they don't need this. They don't need a whole system because they know their kids. But it's just like a seatbelt. You probably don't need a seatbelt every time, but the time that you did need it, you needed it, right? So like it's got to be part of that system. The other thing I would say to that, is that it's about helping bring confidence to the families that
Right.
security is important. Oftentimes when a family visits for the first time, that check-in experience is their first, like, I don't know, view into how your church is, right?
Yeah.
So are they secure? Do they care about your child? Do they, like, is it fast and easy, or is it a pain? It's like those kind of things. So yeah, sorry, that is
Oh, that's
safety and
great.
security. The other one I'd say services does this. It's for clarity for volunteers. I think some I think what has happened still happens, to be honest, when helping with other churches, like playing drums or whatever, is there's multiple different types of communication going on. Like there's email, there's a text, there's like the services request, there's also like Facebook group that's talking
Right.
sometimes, and like carrier pigeon. I don't know. But when I'm ready to like consume the information, I forget which one I need to look at,
Yeah.
and even though the way they communicate in those things are clear, it
Right.
feels like chaos.
Right.
And I think that's what services is trying to solve. Have
Yeah.
everything that you need in one spot. So when they're ready to consume it, they can go to it. And when you're ready to communicate, it's all through that same system. So yeah, being confident, having everything you need, that feels like the important. The last one I would say is people. And this is probably the biggest one for children's ministry that I'm most excited about, honestly. In People also is 100% free. So if you
Okay.
have any aspect of Planning Center, you do have the ability to connect with people. Uh, but what it does is it helps make sure that people don't fall through the cracks. So like what I mean by that is you could do a lot. There's a thing called lists and the thing's called workflows. Workflows are just like process queues of steps. It's like um for first time visitors, I have a couple steps that I need to do. I want to make sure I send them an email after their first, visit. And then a week later, I want to make sure I or the pastor calls them so they know what's going on. Like it doesn't matter what your process is, but that could be what we call a workflow where each step is assigned to a different person if you want it to be. Um, but then that connects with lists because lists just help you automatically pull all the information of like, give me a list of everybody who checked in for the first time ever. And then that automatically gets sent to a workflow. So sometimes when we think about a church management software, we're thinking, oh, what are the reporting structures? And I think that's normal because it's like, I need to pull a report so I can get information so I then can do that thing that I need to do with that
Right.
information. A planning center takes care of all of those steps, right?
Wow.
So you have your list, it's automatically going to pull the people who are first time visitors. And instead of running a report on Monday morning, you get notified if a new person comes into your step.
Wow.
So, and you know what to do with that new person because the step is called call them or whatever it might be. So I think and there's a lot of different flows that you can do. I think some of like the most impactful ones for children's ministry is, there's the first time visitors one. There's also my favorite one is a list of kids falling through the cracks. That's like give me a list of everybody who's checked in the last 6 months. Those are like the people who are normally here, but then who have not checked in the last 3 weeks.
I love that.
Those are your kids falling through the cracks, maybe.
Right.
And then instead of creating a report, just notify me on the workflow that I should look at what's going on. Like, are they just on vacation and it's
Right.
summer? Is that normal? I can look at that. I can make comments on this step or I can call them and contact and see what's going on. So, uh, yeah, so that's a really cool. And there's also like more practical ones. Like if somebody fills out a form that says they want to serve in children's ministry, it can automatically go to that workflow that says, I'm interested in children's ministry. Send me to, this step to get a background check, whatever your steps
Right.
are, you can do all of that there. So like, I think people is probably the most powerful thing
Yeah.
just because I've seen ministries do so much with so little
Yeah.
because they've created processes to feel confident that they're getting what they want to get
Right.
done. And they start being able to care about things that they didn't feel like they could do before. Things like I want to make sure I send a postcard when it's their birthday month,
Hmm.
which feels like a lot of work, but you can automate that in Planning
Right.
Center and just get notified of all the kids who that week it's their birthday, and the actual work to do feels a lot less and feels like accomplishable. So yeah, I that's what I'm most excited about.
Those are all fantastic. I feel like I could just tell everybody right now, go get planning center because you need it. But I would, going back through, I think what you said about safety and security is huge. Like seatbelt analogy is fantastic, right? Because if your families don't feel safe, if your kids don't feel safe, I've been reading a textbook for our Kidmin Academy talking about kids who've been through trauma. And, kids who have walked through trauma need to feel physically safe. Like, and all kids do, but so many kids today don't feel safe in certain environments. So we want to create that space where they know, only the right person can pick me up. Only the right person can drop me off. I feel safe and secure when I'm in this environment. You mentioned background checks. That's a huge piece that I love that you guys can kind of say, hey, let's trigger that through whatever website.
Yeah,
That's
can I add something too?
Please, yes.
I think there's this I really like the kid take on like feeling on like how kids feel on a Sunday morning too. We have another feature called birthday labels. It prints another second label that says it's your birthday around that week of your
Yes.
birthday. And that's just another okay, to be honest, this happened because I went to Disneyland once around my birthday and they give you Disneyland buttons and
Yep.
every single cast member said happy birthday to me. And I just felt like a princess. You know what I mean? Like I felt like really special. So, and I want that should be how you feel people seeing you as a kid at a church. So anyway, like not only feeling secure, but also feeling like seen because they care about you and your birthday and stuff. Anyway, that's cool.
No, that's fantastic. I love that you can enable some of those features and the safety and security, but then the fun side of it. The scheduling I can speak to, like you said, I know we think of worship sometimes being the one that's using the service flow, but we were at, when I was in ministry, we would use the service flow because volunteers can go in and they can practice the worship videos. They can access your files. If you want to upload your small group file, your large group file, all of that can be available through Planning Center. And all they have to do is go on their app. The services app is very friendly. That's the only one I've personally integrated with as a volunteer and as a staff member, but it's so user friendly to jump in. And I was on the worship team and I would jump in and, okay, you can even, I think, integrate it with Siri and be like, Siri, practice Planning
Yeah.
Center. And it'll pull up your vocals that you need to
Yeah.
practice. It's crazy.
Yeah. And to add to that, a different lens too is I think sometimes as leaders, we hear like, oh, you can upload this and you can do this and you can do, and it feels like overwhelming. As software developer of trying to make that product, the whole reason we built it the way we did is so that all of those steps are as easy as possible to do. Um, so what I mean by that is like you can upload your whole 6 months of curriculum in one shot. You can schedule all your normal people who come every week in once, and then you can schedule your whole month for all the extra people for like your check-in stations and all that with one click of a button that's auto scheduling that auto schedules them. So it like even what you're saying as a volunteer, that like that ability to have everything you need, it is also the point of it is to try to make that as low effort as possible for you as a leader to make sure that that happens too.
Which is such a win-win. It's fantastic that you can, like you said, make it easy on both ends because in ministry, we want to be free to do the ministry. And when we're tied up in administrative all the time, we're not able to dive in and care for the people. And what this is doing is, like you said, with those lists and workflows, you're able to say, hey, who has been missing? Can I make
Right.
the time to make that call? And, and now I have the time to make the call because I'm not spending 3 hours scheduling my volunteers. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's an awesome win-win.
Exactly. I feel like I'm reading a book by Brene Brown and I'm like obsessing over this particular quote. So it kind of attaches to it, but it kind of matters here. But what she said is there's like a fallacy that we think we are thinking beings, but we're not. We're feeling beings that think,
Wow.
which is like changing so many things about that. And why I think it applies here is because oftentimes when we have a feeling that things are chaotic or things like don't make sense or something like that, that feeling is real and we have to figure out why. And that's what Planning Center is trying to help with you to do, so that the feeling that you have is that you're confident in what you need to do as a ministry, so that you can focus on the things that you want to focus on. Because sometimes when, like, even on Sunday morning, when I'm talking to like a new family, my brain's over here is like, oh, are they going to run out of labels? I got to make sure that they know how to do that, because they might run out of labels and I don't know if I've set that up properly. Like, and I'm not even engaging in the thing that I care most about because my brain's everywhere, right? I also have ADD, so that might be part of it. But still, having some level of confidence that I can focus helps a lot. So, yeah.
No, that's great. And what a great quote. Just the reminder that what we feel matters, and what we feel, like you said, is, and if we're feeling it, how much more are other people feeling it? If we
Right.
feel the chaos, then our volunteers and our families, they're probably feeling it too. So I
Yeah.
love the way the Planning Center just says, hey, let's simplify, let's clean it up, let's make it as streamlined as possible.
Yeah, and I think, like, I've been a part of a couple like bands in my lifetime where everybody knew what was going on and they knew exactly what parts they were doing. I'm connecting it to bands because I think that's the easiest thing
Yeah.
to connect with. And you just feel like you're worshiping, not performing. You just feel like you are part of a team that is doing all of their parts, and you can count on each other, and you see what's going on, and you can feel the spirit. Like, that feeling is what we want for everything in ministry to feel like. So, and I think you can do that with Planning Center. That's at least the hope, right? Is that, like, I am confident that this person's going to follow up with the right people because I've got my workflows and they're going to get the thing. So I don't have to think about what they're doing. I'm confident that labels, even if they do run out, they're right there underneath where they need to be because we're tracking where they need to be and know when to buy more and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's the goal. The goal isn't just making software. The goal is to help process our feelings so that we can care about the things we want to care about.
So good. And I think an important point is, you may be listening to this and going, I don't have a big staff. Who am I going to delegate these workflows to? That's where you can raise up volunteers. I was talking with someone this week, and she does, for her church, she does the reporting and I'm like, that's awesome. I don't know if she's getting paid or not, but she's doing it. And you can have people that aren't getting paid that may say, hey, I'm passionate about calling a new family, or I'm
Yeah.
passionate about writing a postcard, and you can pull them in. And if I'm correct, in Planning Center, you can just give the right access, right? And just say, all right, this person has the ability to view this workflow or this, and that is so equipping and
Right. Yeah.
empowering.
So they can just view the workflow, but not the entire church database,
Right.
right? So you're still being safe and secure with whoever's coming
Exactly.
in the workflow and nothing else. The other thing on top of that is, I think there's oh man, my brain went 7 different ways.
It's the ADD. It's fine.
That's right. That's right. But I think there's these different sometimes when somebody's oh yeah, I know what I was going to say. I, in the past, want to make sure I'm capable of doing all the things. Like, I don't want to give somebody something that I wouldn't do myself. And because of that, there's things that I'm just, like, not good at all. Like calendars. I hate calendars. I hate scheduling which is weird coming from a scheduling product, but it's like, it's something that takes more that has more frustration than it does bring me joy.
Yeah.
And I thought everybody was like this. um,
Right.
but the truth is, I was talking to somebody and they're like, oh man, I absolutely love calendars. Can I just do that because it's fun? And I was like, what? First of all, are you okay? Second of all, is this real? But, like, it's, other people love helping in certain ways. So you don't have to think you have to do anything, or everything is what I mean. Like, the church, the body of Christ, is trying to get all the different parts involved. So so I'm trying to, like, encourage that
Right.
even if you are small, it's not just it's not, oh, I got to use people. It's not like that. It's, you're giving people opportunity to do the things
Yes.
that they love.
That's beautiful. And you can't say no for someone, because, sometimes we think, oh, well, that CEO is too busy. Well, but that CEO is probably great with time management. And so he
Yep.
probably could make the time to help you,
Yeah.
fix some of your systems and work on,
Yeah.
some of those things that it's like, man, we've got to think out of the box and get people engaged, and Planning Center's helping you do that, which is
Yeah,
fantastic.
and even sometimes when somebody is too busy, the thing that helps them feel better is doing the thing that they love, you
Right.
know? So even if you see that they're too busy, they might still prefer to do it, and it will help them mentally to get over it, you know?
Right. That's good. And then you realize, hey, I want to make the time because serving in the church is powerful. And so we
Right.
want, I think it's Ephesians 4:12 says, equip the saints for the work of the ministry. And that's what we're called to do, is not to do the ministry on our own, but to equip
Yes,
the saints, the people of God, to do it. So
that's
uh,
right.
how do you recommend? We've talked about some things, and obviously we can't share screens, because this is audio and video. But
Sure.
how do you recommend getting the most out of Planning Center? Are there training videos? Can you do where do you recommend
Yes.
to get the most out of it?
Yeah, I think there's like three different things that you can do. The first one is, well, four. The first one is our support team. We at the right corner of every one of our screens, there's a question mark, and you can access our docs and our videos and all that kind of stuff, but also ask our support team. And we respond within the hour, usually less, but we do that. And everybody can do that. It doesn't matter if you're a volunteer or like the highest admin, it's all treated the same, and we're going to support you. Also, our support team, most of them have been in ministry and are here just to help. They love it. So, like, please, we're bored, maybe, like, help us. you know, we want to help. So, okay, so that's one. The second one is we have this collection of what we call Planning Center University. And these are like 30 to 40 minutes on each one of the products that helps you walk through how to understand the whole product. The one that we also have one that's about 40 minutes long, that's Planning Center for Children's Ministry, and it jumps around a lot of those, a lot of those products and what matters. So that's the second one. The third one, remember I have four. The third one we have is if you're kind of a tech person and you want to connect with other people who are tech people and love Planning Center, we have a Slack channel. If you know what Slack is,
Yeah.
it's a free community channel that you can join, and it's just a bunch of people who use Planning Center and like to talk about how to use it and how to work with it and all that kind of stuff. And then lastly, we have a Planning Center Facebook group that's also open to the community, and the whole community just builds each other up and helps each other there. So yeah, those are the four.
That's fantastic. We know all about Facebook groups here at KidzMatter. So I love it. So if you're in our I Love Kidmin Facebook group, hop over to the Planning Center Facebook group, be in both, and we'll keep encouraging each other and building each other up with the tech side of things, which is awesome.
That's right.
What would you say? Again, I hate that we can't just share a screen and do all of those things, but what are some frequently asked questions that we can maybe address without some of the technical things? But are there any things you get a lot that we could talk about today?
Yeah, I'd say the first one is if you're just getting started, it is overwhelming. So be okay with that for a moment. We know that, but because it's trying to do a lot of things. So the best suggestion I can give is to start slow. Don't go all in on Planning Center. Just go in on the thing that you think is going to impact you the most first. So if you're looking for a check-ins software, just get check-ins. Don't get the rest of it. Don't even start paying for it. A trick is that you get a 30-day free trial on each product. So try not to use that 30-day trial until you're ready to use it. So yeah, start with check-ins. But even with that, you don't have to feel like you have to in one weekend force everybody to this new system of checking in. You start slow there too. I think, at least from my experience, the people in the nursery, the parents of nursery children usually have a little bit of more tolerance on speed sometimes. So try it with them first. You got to figure out physical things, like where do you put the printer and the iPad, and where do lines go if you have a line, and do you want backup like iPhone stations to help process people? You got to figure out all those things before you start scaling up. But also start slow, get the smallest package of check-ins first too. Right. And then as you grow, you can grow into what it needs to be. So don't feel like you have to estimate for what you're going to be. Just go start small and grow with it. So yeah, one thing at a time. Start slow. That's probably the best thing. The other thing I think is that PCU, Planning Center University for Children's Ministry, specifically, I think it connects the dots and clarifies certain ways of thinking, because part of joining a church management software is knowing the mindsets of the people who created that software. And that's who's talking on those videos, is the people who created it. So it helps you start from a place of, this is why we built what we built, and this is how we think about using it, that kind of thing. So yeah, and then
And they can access that on planningcenter.com, or where would they find that?
yes, they can go to planningcenter.com. There's if you go to resources, there is support and training, and and you'll see a Planning Center University section.
Fantastic. So you don't even have to have a subscription to start,
Right.
just to look at it and see if it's even going to work for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, totally. Honestly, I think that's one of the reasons we have free trials is because we don't want to force a prescription. We don't ask for credit card or anything like that because we hate when people do that too.
Yeah.
So like we're legit trying to build software that we want to use. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like,
that's awesome.
but so you could start there, but also start with the videos. I think the best way to everybody consumes things differently. How I like to consume things is seeing it and how it works, and that's what the university videos do.
That's fantastic. Well, I feel like we've given our listeners a lot to think about. And obviously, we're not just trying to be like, go get Planning Center, but we wanting to equip them and say, hey, if you don't have something that's working for you, then we want to get you what you need. And the principles that you've heard here, safety and security, having workflows. If you're like, man, I already have a system and I can't change due to XYZ, what you've heard from Scott today is that there's ways to have workflows. Let's recruit some volunteers to help carry the burden, carry the load of ministry. And let's focus on that safety and security. Those are some great, I feel like, takeaways. But is there anything else you would share for someone, for our kidmin leaders, any encouragement you would give them?
Yeah, I think there's definitely encouragement. There's one other thing I want to say too. I think Planning Center exists to help you and help the church. We don't exist for any other reason. We're not looking to sell our company. That's going on a lot in the church management world right now. That's why I'm saying this. We are not for sale. And we often get people asking if we are, but we're not. There's nothing else we want to do with our lives except for what we're doing right here. And it's so fun. We're working with great people. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, like that means two things. We're here for you for the long haul. And two, we desperately want to listen to how you're doing ministry so we can help change it. I think if you talk to people that use us and have written in asking for something, you might find that we do it or we explain why we're not and want more information. But I just want to say, like, please help. Like, you can use whatever you need is best, and we fully believe that. We're not in here for competition. Everybody, there's plenty of people that need plenty of different things, and we're not trying to say you have to use Planning Center or anything like that. It's really just like we're here to listen and to help, and maybe we can help you with that. So
when, because the relational side of things, right? It's not just software, it's relationship. And it's,
yeah,
we want to partner with your church and we want to partner with you. And I love that you can write in, because so often there are things you're like, oh, what about this idea? And hey, y'all can do it. And, or well, if you can, which is
right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay. So for the encouragement piece, I think this might be coming from like the experience that I had in ministry too, but I think the encouragement is I can give is that you're not alone. And so many people want to help. And it's not just software. It's like people in your community. It's this KidzMatter community. Also, it's like everybody wants to help you to help the mission of Christ. That's why we're like alive, So like, I think I struggled with that as a ministry partner because oftentimes in a church, there's a lot of resistance for children's ministry specifically. And at least from my experience, and sometimes that resistance feels like you're alone. So the encouragement I can give is that you're not. We got a lot of people here to help. So yeah.
That's amazing. And you mentioned, I think you guys are going to be at the conference again this year. Are y'all coming?
Yes, we will.
Oh, fantastic. So we'll have Planning Center in Evansville for our 2025 conference, October 7th, 8th, and 9th. If you don't have a ticket, tickets are still available and you can come. And Scott, are you physically going to be there? Or what?
Yes, we'll be there. We're teaching 4 classes too. Yeah.
Awesome. And he's teaching breakout. So you can come and learn more and meet Scott and his team and just learn more about Planning Center. But don't wait. If you're looking, dive in and do that now at planningcenter.com. Scott, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. This has been a wonderful conversation. Would you mind closing us out in prayer?
Yes, definitely. Thanks, Hannah. Dear Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for giving the gift of opportunity and connection and learning. Please bless us as we attempt to do what we think is best to help affect the people that need it the most. Please let us be visible to those people that need it and help us be I don't know, feel like a part of the community and feel like we can do this. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you, Scott. We will see you at conference. And to all of our friends, we'll see you on next week's episode. Have a great week.
Bye.
That was a great conversation. I love that quote that Scott shared from Brene Brown about how we are feelers, not just thinkers. It's important that people can feel that our ministry is safe, secure, and organized, and Planning Center helps us with that. If you're interested, don't forget to check out planningcenter.com to learn more about this amazing tool. You can also come to the KidzMatter Conference October 7th, 8th, and 9th in Evansville, Indiana. You can visit the KidzMatterConference.com to get your tickets. We'd love to see you there. And like we mentioned in the episode, Scott and his team will be there. So if you want to learn more about Planning Center, that's a great place to do it. We love you all, and we can't wait to see you next week. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.